Good morning, everyone. This is Patrick at Qdabra. Welcome to our weekly webinar. We are talking about overlays today and a couple other techniques, and I would like to introduce Mel Clemente. Mel has been a Qdabra member for many, many years. In fact, many of you know her from previous webinars. She is probably at the forefront of forms design today. She does stuff with InfoPath and FormsViewer and SharePoint that nobody else does. She's absolutely incredible at what she does, making forms look good, and I'm just thrilled that she's agreed to do the webinar today. Mel?
Yeah, thanks for the great introduction, Patrick, and everyone. My name is Mel again, and most of you are probably familiar with my face. I put my picture in there. I'm just happy to do the webinar for you today, and I'm excited to talk about creating forms with overlays. Patrick, did you want to say anything else before we start?
No, I'm great. I'll chime in if I think of anything, but go ahead and don't forget to unpause your monitor. I haven't seen the next slide yet.
Right, thanks. Okay. So we've got these three topics. We've got three bullets for you today. We're going to show you how to create two views or use two views to create your overlay effect in your InfoPath forms for use in FormsViewer. And then there's also showing pop-up dialogs in the browser for your FormsViewer forms. And then lastly, to add rules in your form so that they can detect whether or not the user is opening the form in the mobile device, and if so, switch to the mobile view automatically. So those are going to be our topics for today. Here are our steps for that first item, how to create the two views. I'm going to walk.
Sorry, one thing. We have one person who can't hear, so let's just verify that other people can hear. If you can hear us, please raise your hand. And thanks, Brian. It looks like we do have audio, so we'll continue with the recording. Ingrid, hopefully you can hear. I'll chat with you separately. Thanks, Mel.
Okay. Yep, so these are the steps how to create those two views, and I'm going to walk you through later step by step. Before I do that, I'd like to show you, just give you a quick, sneak peek of how this really works. For now, showing you screenshots, but later on I'm going to show a live demo, an actual demo. So what's going to happen is you're going to have this first view, and we're going to call it the master view, and you're going to have maybe a button to switch to like the overlay view or the detail view, and once clicked, it's going to show that second view as if showing you the overlay effect here. And I hope you can see this current screen. As you can see, everything in the background just is appearing, and I can hear myself. Hopefully my audio is still okay. Yeah, you can see darker background here, and just focusing on the details section there, and clicking on the X button that just switches back to the normal or the master view, allowing selection of a new row to see the data off, which again shows the overlay effect. So how is that possible? So first we're going to copy the master view. All right, we call that the master view, your default view maybe. And then create a new view. You're going to call it the overlay view, and it will have the effects. And I'll demo this step by step later in InfoPath Designer. And then you just want to modify the layout just to show. This is quite something like a fake overlay technique that actually doesn't look fake, right? It's deceiving. So just change the background so that it appears as if your focus is like floating on that canvas, and then you're gonna just follow all these to modify your layout. Basically, just making sure that your the detail section pops out, stands out, right? And then there's rules in, like I show you on the first view, a button that switches to the overlay view, and then don't forget the close button to switch back to the master view. And then you saw the rounded corners. I'm going to show that again. You can optionally use CSS or a custom style sheet file and then use QRoles to load that CSS file to add effects to your overlay view, just like the rounded corners you're seeing here, these are all, this is all possible by the CSS technique, okay? And I guess I'm just gonna finish my
So Mel,
slides here and then move
yeah, why don't you just jump in? Show them, yeah, just let's
okay.
do it. Let's show them the details first, and then because this is the key part of the webinar today. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So here I have the info path, design, the template opened in the designer, and we said that this is my master view, right? So no overlay there. So we said that we're going to copy the entire view. So I'm just right, my cursor is on the canvas. I'm just going to do Control A and copy everything, Control C. And here, new view. We actually have an overlay view already, so I'm just going to name this overlay 2 just to show you how to do things from scratch. And I just want to delete everything here and paste what I had from my master view. So this is what I'm calling the overlay 2 view. And next, we're going to go to the view properties, use a background color. Normally, we would do so anything that, again, just shows things in the background there. We mentioned in the slide deck that we prefer or we recommend this RGB combinations 939393, and that will make this look like that. So in the background, so you still want to select this entire table and use the same shading or just do a no shading. So if I do select table, it's going to select that entire thing, and then in the shading, I'm just going to do no fill so that it, the content appears transparent over that background. All right. And let's see here. So says here, going back here, just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So we change the background, remove the shadings in all objects except anything that has your custom colors. So what does that mean? Custom colors are, this header right here, that's a custom color. So I'm gonna, it says change for custom colors. For those who are the custom colors, change them to a darker shade. So from blue to dark blue. So this one right here, I'm just gonna, so that's a blue, maybe just change it to something like this. I had them in my custom, my palette now. Yeah, so I just made that darker if you noticed what happened. And this one right here is also wanna, just somehow mix that color in my background color. So something like this, I think. Not quite. It's up to you really how you think things are gonna, you just want users to differentiate between your overlay and your master view, right? So especially this guy with the form name has a white font color there. You want to make sure that doesn't stand out. So I changed that to a gray. And same goes with all your fonts here. So I'm just going to change all my fonts to just color gray there. And that's how it looks. And like this table has, appears to have borders, white borders. So you don't want that, remove the borders. So it's as easy as that. And then I want to just add my detail section here. This is the important part. So what I'm going to do is, I previously had it in my clipboard, but I'm just going to cheat you. Going to copy my detail section. So this is the one, and copy it over to where exactly I want that pop-up to appear. So right here in the repeating section here, I'm going to paste. So make sure this is the focus, so to speak. So you want to make sure that it has a white background. All right, and notice that it doesn't have rounded corners. You won't see that in the canvas or in InfoPath Designer. It happens behind the scenes in that CSS file when it loads, when QRules loads it. So I've got my X button there, and my close button switches back to the desktop view. All right, and let me see what else I might be missing. So here on top, you still see white. And these are actually input fields, text box fields. Anything that has user interaction, you want to avoid that. So I'm going to change this text box into a calculated value. Because even though I'm focused, the user's focused on this section where they are supposed to input. If there are text boxes around, they can still click on those and type on those and, click on the button. So you just want to make things just static, no interaction, all right? So you want to do that for all your controls. And that's all there is to it. It could be quite hard if you have a huge form with lots of controls and there's still a white row here, so you just want to remove the fill there. And this footer has white text as well, so you want to change that to something darker. So, yep, you get the idea. And how does that work in the browser? I'm going to show you that next. Here's where I published my overlay sample form in FormsViewer. I'm going to open the form and see how it works live. Okay, so this is our customer's empty part number finder form. Enter the category and just click on the filter button. It's going to show me all of the parts available for me, and these are the buttons that's supposed to show the overlay effect, just like so. Closing takes me back to the initial view. How's that?
Looks great, Mel. Does anyone else have questions or comments on that wonderful little demo that Mel did? I think this is the first time that I'm seeing all the details of how he did that. And we have, for those of you looking at this, there's a lot of application for this, and we have a lot of customers that have asked for this kind of pop-up. It looks like a pop-up, but it's actually, we call it an overlay. We're going to be talking about pop-ups in a second. And it's a very cool technique because it, in FormsViewer, and these are all InfoPath forms that are being published to 365 or to SharePoint on-prem. The view switching is so fast you don't really see much of a delay when she clicks on it. She's actually switching a view when she clicks on it, and it's just so fast it looks like a pop-up. So very cool, Mel. Any questions for us? We'll take it in after. You want to go back to the slide deck, and I think we got a couple more really cool things to show people today.
Absolutely. Okay, so on to our next topic for today, showing pop-up dialogs via FormsViewer. So the first key thing to make sure that you're designing an InfoPath filler form. So you'd go to your compatibility settings and change it from a web browser to an InfoPath filler, because as we know, web browsers don't allow dialog boxes. So we're limited to that. If you still want to show dialog boxes, there's going to be a rule to show dialog box message in the InfoPath filler. All right, so any changes that you like, and this is how it appears in Internet Explorer when that rule fires. Okay, so that's
for those of you who are not familiar with FormsViewer, FormsViewer is our migration path for InfoPath. It's our future. We call it InfoPath 2016. It's a free app that you can install on SharePoint that will render your forms in the browser. And so what Mel's done here is, so FormsViewer contains a bunch of stuff out of the box, like the mobile stuff, the rounded corner CSS mods, and it contains this pop-up, which is unlike InfoPath Form Services, which does not have support for a pop-up. And we're going to show you this demo in a second, so that it's kind of confusing. You downgrade your form or you upgrade it to filler, so you can get this pop-up dialog box action for your rule. And then FormsViewer will see that, and it will actually do the pop-up like InfoPath probably should have done if they had implemented this. But the feature's there, so this is a little bit confusing, but I hope people understand it. Mel, did you want to show them? I guess people have a link. Do you want to just bring up that new form and show them what it looks like, or do you want to do a different demo?
I'm going to show this form, the feedback form. If people already clicked on this, this is going to look familiar. So let me clean up a little bit here. Okay, so this form on submit, actually shows that pop-up, and yeah, I can fill it out or just hit submit here, and let's see how that pop-up works. There you go. Thank you for your feedback. We will send you a free sample shortly. So yeah, it's just like any pop-up you would receive in Internet Explorer. Uh, yeah, if Patrick wants to add to that.
Yeah, just Shane's got a great question, and I think we'll put it in, slot it in here so people can get the value. So the question is, does this mean that FormsViewer can convert filler forms to browser forms and still allow pop-ups? And the answer is yes. It doesn't have to be set to compatibility for browser. FormsViewer works with filler forms and just fine, and you just drag and drop the forms into managed templates, and it doesn't care if the compatibility is set to filler. And that's how we did this. Now, for those of you trying this little survey app, it works. It's kind of funky. On my iOS machine, on my phone, I can't scroll to the submit button. So if you're having trouble scrolling to submit, you might have to go into landscape mode. I know that we were testing this before the webinar. We couldn't quite get it perfect. Mel can. Mel's obviously is perfect. And for those of you using Android, I think it's working really well. But for iOS, if you have trouble with the submit button being hidden by the floating footer, you might have to switch into landscape mode and play with it a little bit. But this is a very cool little form. Mel, I mean, obviously you want to talk about the other stuff that you did here, right?
Yeah, I'm thrilled to, but I don't know, maybe next time. But we already had a webinar about doing this, right? The CSS cool techniques. Yeah, so that's about that for the pop-up, and you saw that. Let me switch to our last topic for today, adding rules to detect if the user is on mobile and whatnot. So there's this we have a QRules command called form property, and you can pass in a key to find out what kind of property you want, and the user agent key returns what browser or the browser details the form is opened from. So I tested this in these, different platforms or different browsers. In Chrome, I get, it's kind of confusing, but you just want to, from what I saw, if you're opening from Chrome, the Chrome word's going to appear there. And from IE, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm just looking at the differences here. I don't know what Trident is, but that's the keyword that's missing in the other browsers. Yeah, Firefox obviously is Firefox. For when I opened it in my Android phone, there's this mobile key there. So this is what you want to check on. Yeah. And so in form here, in all our FormsViewer forms that we want mobile enabled, we are adding in the Qdabra rules finished loading node. So this is the one that's loading our custom style sheet file, load CSS template. This is where we're running that command, get form property, parameter key, user agent, and then switches to the mobile view if the result, if what did get form property return to us. If the result contains just the word mobi or mobile, I think there might be cases where the mobile wording is different, so you just want to check for mobi. And we're doing the or here comparison, operation, just to make sure that it's case insensitive, right? We're not minding the case there. So if that is the result, then switch our view to the mobile view. Okay, this form might not have a desktop view, it only has a mobile view, but for this one here, in my first sample, I've got now I have 4 views. So by default, I'm using the desktop so that when user opens the form from their desktop, it just shows the desktop version. And mobile is, I think we haven't configured the mobile piece of this form yet, but yeah, it just automatically switches to the mobile view once the form detects that the user is opening it in any mobile device. All right. So to prove that, and I'm sorry I'm not able to show that on my screen here, that link that Patrick sent should, when you click on that link on your phone, it should automatically take you to a mobile compatible view in that, things auto-fit here. Like even if I'm on the browser, this is the same effect you're going to get in your mobile device. Like based on the width of your device, because if, for example, if you're using an iPad, which is we know wider than a mobile device, it should auto-fit. The content should auto-fit, just like so. Even if I go the narrowest there, things will just adjust and wrap themselves, just like so. All right.
That's very cool. Very cool. So yeah, this is showing the responsive design, and we've done, like Mel said, we've done webinars on this in the past. But if you're curious how we did this and you need some help, please don't hesitate to reply, and somebody will contact you and we'll show you how to do it. We've also got samples on infopathddev.com underneath FormsViewer. And Mel, do you want to switch? Let's switch the FormsViewer slide for a second. I think we're ready to. I love the images, by the way, with the smiley faces. Those are awesome.
Emoticons.
Yeah. So why FormsViewer? Well, like I said, we're trying to give people a future for your forms, so your investment is not lost. And InfoPath is going to be around until 2025, according to Microsoft, but we're not sure how long 365 will support it. So the number one reason why we created this app, which is a replacement for InfoPath on 365 and SharePoint on-prem, the number one reason was to provide that assurance that even if something changes on the Microsoft side, you've got an out, you've got something you can use. But there's also more. We've been using this app now for so long that we add features to it every month, and we made it faster. There's none of this sending data to the server. We also added all these features like you saw today. We have the mobile support for the responsive design. We have things like, what else did you do? The pop-up, that's pretty minor, but there's a lot of stuff in here that we did, including external links. So if you're opening this, and we have a few people that have already submitted the survey, you don't actually need to authenticate with our 365 site. So there's a ton of stuff that we've added, and it's really easy to use. And like I said, it's free. There is if you use it a lot, we ask for a very small per site, per month, or per year fee, but it's very minimal. And it's free. It's like a freemium thing up to, I think it is 200 opens or something a month per site. And after that, it's like $70. So if you're interested in this, please let us know. We can also download it for free from our website and install it on 365. We have webinars on this, but that's the ad. That's the sponsor for today's webinar. Thank you for being here. Let's see, Mel, what else do we got for these fine folks? We've got questions, Q&A. Anyone else have any great questions? Shane's question was awesome. If not, let's switch to the next slide real quick, Mel, and just talk about what's coming up. So we try to do these once a week. We try to make them short and sweet. Sometimes they're longer. Next week's webinar by Hillary Stupa will definitely be a little bit longer. It's more involved. We're doing a series on Power Apps right now because it has become a lot better. Microsoft's put a lot of effort into it. And last week you saw, some of you may have seen Jennifer Lindsay's webinar on Power Apps. We did the 101 beginner, and next week we're doing the intermediate level. So Hillary's going to be talking about data connections. Then we're going to take a break. It's summer and we have a few people that are off, so we're going to take it easy on the 27th. And then the following week we've got an initial announcement for new features. Last time we shipped FormsViewer or published it was June 10th, I believe, June 11th. We're going to be updating it again in August, and we'll talk about what's in the new drop on August 8th, August 3rd. So any questions for us? Mel, awesome job. Thanks for doing the webinar today. Hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah. Happy to have done it for you guys. Hope you
Don't
learned
forget the
something.
survey. We'll send you the
Yeah.
package for these and the samples that you saw. And we look forward to having you in our webinar next week. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care, everyone.